This is going to be very depressing, my answer. We got a hold of Biden's 2020 playbook for Pennsylvania, and they actually have a whole like slide where they call it annoying the voter, the power of annoying the voter. And this is why I'm telling people like it's not a persuasion election anymore. It's just turnout. And what they did was, and we have the same model. We don't call it that. We call it a reminder campaign. We're a
Okay.
little less on the chin. But what you do is you send the same ballot chaser to a voter's door, the same person, same ballot chaser, every 7 days. And so what you're doing is you're literally like, the motivation is, oh, you don't want me to come back? Send in your ballot. And once again, it's sad for me to say that because, I do wish, and a lot of what I do as an operative, right, is not always cute, right? It's not always the I'm just a bill, Schoolhouse Rock video where it's like, oh, the system's great and it works. And no, there's 900,000 of those people I mentioned in Pennsylvania. I got to get them to vote, right? And by the way, when they vote, they're voting straight ticket Republican, right? I don't have to convince them. It's just you have to get them to vote. And so a lot of the times, we're back at the door, but obviously we're having conversations, right? So we're talking about the economy. We're talking about gas prices. We're talking about what I would call kitchen table issues, right? We're talking about gas prices because, that's what most people are thinking about. But it's funny you say, people that are constitutionally minded, how could they not vote? What I have found is the reality, unfortunately, and I get it. I get why this is the case, but there are millions of Americans who they mildly pay attention. They're educated individuals, but they're taking their kid to baseball practice and they're working late and they're out of town. And we looked in 2024. We had looked back to 2020 in PA, and I was encouraged by Turning Point and Charlie Kirk's group. They were the ones that actually got me to launch the statewide effort in PA. But I looked at one of the numbers that they showed me that was fascinating, and that is Trump lost Pennsylvania in 2020 by about 80,000 votes. And there were 141,000 Republicans who requested a ballot, meaning they went through the effort of saying, hey, send me a ballot, and they never voted. And that was what made me realize, and I'm trying to answer your question here. I'm getting around to it where you said, what's motivating
Sure.
individuals? That made me realize that this was such a problem, right? The mail-in thing was, they weren't motivated.